What's up, guys? Today I am very excited to talk about 3 new characters coming to the game, as well as a brand new tag. I want to stress that these new characters are not intended to form full new teams, though they will have synergy with existing characters. First we'll take a look at Hela, who of course has synergies with fellow Asgardians, Thor and Loki, and then we'll take a look at 2 new malicious mutants, Stryfe and Mr. Sinister, as well as changes to Mystique and Sabertooth, who along with Stryfe and Mr. Sinister will have the new Marauder tag. So in my previous patch video, I spent a lot of time talking about the kit numbers and breaking down the specifics of the abilities. This time I'm going to focus less on the numbers and more on the gameplay footage, and you guys can let me know in the comments which format you prefer. But alright, so let's take a look at the Goddess of Death, Hela. Hela's tags are Villain, Cosmic, Mystic, Controller, and Asgardian. Being a Mystic Controller means she has excellent synergy with Loki. Taking a quick look at her abilities, Hela's basic is Black Blade. Attack primary target for 300% damage and flip 1 death proof on target. Attack the most injured enemy for 100% piercing, ignoring taunt. Living up to her title as the Goddess of Death, Hela punishes death proof and ignores taunt to go for the kill. Pretty savage. Hela's special is Command Undead. Attack primary target for 350% damage and apply Disrupted for 2 turns. Gain an assist from Undead Asgardian. This ability costs 3 energy and starts full. We'll talk more about the Undead Asgardian in just a bit, but moving on, Hela's ultimate is Death Knives. Clear 3 death proof from all enemies, gain 5000% extra focus for this action, attack all enemies for 350% damage, spread 4 negative effects from the primary target to all secondary targets. This will not spread stun. This ability costs 5 energy and starts full. A super focus boosted massive debuff spread is incredibly powerful, especially on turn 1. I'm excited to see her paired with AIM hybrids, Brotherhood hybrids, and even Spider-Verse hybrids. Lastly, Hela's passive is Goddess of Death. On spawn, summon an Undead Asgardian. On an Undead Asgardian's death, summon an Undead Asgardian. On turn, heal self for 5% of max health, plus 5% of max health per non-summoned Asgardian ally. Gain 15% max health, gain 15% max health per non-summoned Asgardian ally. On war defense, on non-summoned Asgardian ally's death, summon an Undead Asgardian. Gain 25% damage, Asgardian allies gain 25% damage. So it looks like the Asgardians are shaping up to be a mythic war defense team, complete with their own undead horde. Cool. Now let's take a look at the Undead Asgardian, also known as Greg. So Greg's basic is Heavy Slash. Attack primary target for 260% piercing and apply heal block. Mean and straight to the point. Greg's special is Dark Sacrifice. Attack primary target for 400% piercing and apply 2 bleed for 2 turns. Attack self for 2000% piercing damage. This attack cannot miss, though it can be dodged. This ability costs 3 energy and is ready on his 2nd turn. Greg does his best Iron Man impression and sacrifices himself for the Asgardian cause. Hela, immediately after of course, just summons another. Greg's passive is Undeath. On death, heal most injured non-summoned Asgardian ally for 180% of this character's max health. So killing Greg causes Hela to spawn a new Greg and it heals the Asgardians. But letting Greg live results in a brutal explosion, followed by Hela spawning a new Greg and healing the Asgardians anyway. Nice. You can take a quick look at Hela's stats. You can see her speed is 110. Alright, now let's break down some gameplay. That Ghost Rider splash is sweet. Alright, so you can see Hela summons Greg as soon as the match starts. Loki of course goes first, and then Greg actually gets the next attack, which is interesting. There's the heal block. They go ahead and open with the Hela ultimate, which obviously does a lot of damage, applies all the defense downs. An Undead Asgardian died, so immediately another one is summoned. Interesting, by the way, that they filled in the 2 missing spots on the Asgardian team with Merc Riot Guard and Merc Lieutenant. You can see, by the way, every time that Undead Asgardian dies, like right here, the heal goes off. So there's another heal for Thor, and of course another Greg on the field. Thor's ult with offense up into a bunch of defense down enemies is going to hurt like all hell. They don't even use the Loki ult, they just use his basic. Here's the Hela special. Not only does it do the 2-turn disrupted, but then there's the assist from the Undead Asgardian. Another basic from the Undead Asgardian. I think they're intentionally not using the Loki ult so that we can better see what's going on without everyone in stealth. So that's nice. And again, another Greg dies, another Greg summoned, more healing is done. It's a really cool Hela basic animation. Pretty sure if she didn't do exactly that, she did something really similar in the film. You can see after she hit the primary target, it made the primary target the most injured, so then she does the follow-up attack for the piercing, which is just a dagger throw, which is really cool, because it means you'll frequently see her hit someone and then throw a dagger to some other target and kill him. Another Greg on the field. So far, no Greg has actually made it to their special ability. There's that awesome basic animation again. And see, that time she threw the dagger and it did kill. We finally get to see, after the Hela special, we finally get to see a special for the Undead Asgardian. And you'll see him make that sacrifice. There's a heal, and there's another Greg. Alright, now we'll talk about, in my opinion, the more exciting stuff. Namely, the new Marauder faction. As I mentioned, Stryfe and Mr. Sinister will both have the Marauder tag, but it will also be added to Mystique and Sabertooth, and they'll see some small kit changes as well, so we'll start with those. In addition to gaining the Marauder tag, Mystique's special had this line added to it. If Mr. Sinister is an ally, flip 2 positive effects to negative effects on each target. Mystique's passive was changed to include, on a non-cloned Magneto's or Mr. Sinister's turn, prolong all positive effects on self and Magneto by a duration of 1, up to a maximum of 3. And they added, on war defense, if Mr. Sinister is an ally, assist on all non-attack abilities. They also forgot to give us the footage, but her basic attack was buffed slightly to deal 20% more damage, and the bonus attacks were buffed to deal 30% more damage. Now let's take a quick look at Sabertooth. In addition to gaining the Marauder tag, his passive was changed to say, gain 5% damage per Brotherhood or Marauder ally. Also, if Mr. Sinister is an ally, gain 20% crit chance. And finally, gain 25% chance to assist on non-attack abilities, gain 25% chance to assist on non-attack abilities per Marauder ally. This means he'll function just like Punisher when he's teamed up with Mystique, Stryfe, and Mr. Sinister. Now that we've covered those updates, let's take a look at Cable's evil clone, Stryfe. Stryfe's tags are Villain, Global, Mutant, Protector, and Marauder. Stryfe's basic is Psychic Strike. Attack primary target for 300% damage. If the target has taunt, gain +1 taunt up to a maximum of 3. Clear taunt from the target. If Mr. Sinister is an ally, transfer all positive effects from the primary target to Mr. Sinister. I really like how Stryfe rises to the occasion by extending his taunt in response to an enemy taunt. Stryfe's special is Superiority. Gain +1 taunt up to a maximum of 3. Gain 3 deflect and barrier self for 15% of this character's max health. Generate 2 ability energy for 2 random Marauder allies. This ability costs 4 energy and starts full. A tank that uses deflects and barrier is a tank that can seriously take a hit. Stryfe's ultimate is Nullifying Blast. Apply ability block to primary target and adjacent targets. Attack primary and adjacent targets for 420% damage. This ability costs 5 energy and is ready on turn 2. I'm a fan of any ability that can ability block a large group of targets, and that damage is pretty dank. Stryfe's passive is Grandeur. On spawn, fill 10% speed bar plus 10% speed bar per mutant villain ally. On turn, if taunting, gain +1 deflect up to a maximum of 3. When an allied Mr. Sinister drops below 50% max health, gain +1 taunt up to a maximum of 3 and gain barrier for 15% of this character's max health. On war defense, gain 50% resistance. Mutant allies gain 50% resistance. Gain 50% focus. Villain allies gain 50% focus. If it wasn't clear by now, Stryfe is basically Mr. Sinister's personal bodyguard, meaning you'll have a hard time getting through Stryfe if you're trying to take out Mr. Sinister. Here's a quick look at Stryfe's stats. You can see his speed is 88. I'm happy to say that I've saved the best for last. We're going to take a first look at Mr. Sinister, and if my initial impression is correct, this guy will be an absolute game changer. Mr. Sinister looks like he'll be the first broken champion we've gotten our hands on in quite a while, and I can't wait to wreak some havoc with him, so let's check him out. Mr. Sinister is a villain global mutant marauder support. He's also a total nightmare, but they don't have a tag for that. Mr. Sinister's basic is Psionic Beam. Attack primary target for 300% damage and 50% damage per non-clone marauder ally. Gain an assist from a random cloned ally. Gain an assist from a random marauder ally. Yes, you heard that right. This guy can do 450% damage and call for 2 assists with his basic attack. And we're just getting started. Mr. Sinister's special is Gene Therapy. Clear heal block from the 2 most injured allies, gain offense up for 2 turns, transfer all positive effects from an ally Mystique to this character, spread all positive effects from this character to all mutant or cloned allies, heal all allies for 2,000 health plus 20% of this character's max health, heal all clones for 1,500 health plus 10% of this character's max health. This ability costs 5 energy and starts with 2. This is basically a Nick Fury special on steroids. It clears heal block before healing, and it accumulates tons of positive effects from Mystique, who's really good at collecting them. Mr. Sinister's ultimate is Clone. Summon a clone of the primary target. This clone scales with Mr. Sinister's stats instead of the primary target. Clone gains defense up for 2 turns. On war defense, generate 2 ability energy for all marauders and clone allies. This ability costs 6 energy and starts with 3. So this ability is totally broken. I mean, imagine cloning something ridiculous like an Ultron or a Phoenix. Thank goodness it's not available until turn 3. Wait, what the hell is this? On spawn, generate 3 ability energy for this character if non-clone. Are you kidding me? Sorry about that. Anyway, Mr. Sinister's passive is Mutant Eugenicist. On spawn, generate 3 ability energy for this character if non-cloned. On turn, heal for 15% of max health plus 5% of max health per marauder ally. Apply regeneration to the 2 most injured mutant allies. On marauder ally's turn, if this character's health is greater than 50%, redistribute 10% health from this character to that ally. Gain 50% focus, marauder allies gain 50% focus, gain 20% max health, marauder allies gain 20% max health. On war defense, marauder allies gain 30% max health. All I can say about this is God help us all. Here's a quick look at his stats. You can see Mr. Sinister sports a modest 100 speed. Now let's take a look at this monster in action. So right away he gains that 3 energy. Stryfe opens up with the special. He's taunting, he's got a bunch of deflect stacks. Interestingly, they've chosen Hand Sorceress as the 5th here. There's that clone ability, and because it was non-damaging, Sabertooth jumped in. So interestingly, you can see that the Kingpin clone has a lot less health than the normal Kingpin. So I actually asked about this, and I was told that this is old footage and that the clone will scale with Mr. Sinister's stats. So while it won't be identical to the character that you copied, it should be a version of the character that's equivalent in power compared to how strong your Mr. Sinister is. I don't know if you saw, by the way, Mystique was flipping buffs while she was doing her special because of the update to her kit. So now they have a lot more debuffs, which is awesome. There's the Mr. Sinister special, where he gets all the buffs that Mystique had, then he distributes them to the entire team, then Sabertooth jumped in because it was non-damaging. So now the entire team is really well buffed up. The clone Kingpin is already on his second turn doing work. Sabertooth jumped in because again it was non-damaging. There's the Stryfe ult, which with the offense up just massacred a bunch of them. Poor Winter Soldier gets through the evade to hit into a bunch of deflects, just never stood a chance. And there you have it, the 6-man team win. So that was quite the display. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on these characters, especially Mr. Sinister, who looks like an absolute maniac. What do you guys think about these upcoming characters? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Also, please let me know if you prefer this format or the older one. But on that note, I'm gonna wrap up here. For those that don't know, I stream Marvel Strike Force over at twitch.tv/Khasino every single day at 1 p.m. Pacific time. Also, anyone is welcome to join my Discord server, which is discord.gg/Khasino, where we've got blitz predictions, infographics, videos, data mines, content creator Q&A, and more. Otherwise, that's all I've got for you today, but make sure to subscribe to the channel, and I'll be seeing you real soon. Until then, peace!